Hello, hello everyone. Welcome for this new masterclass about how to pitch for the startups. Um, Thank you everyone to be here. Today I'm very happy to be with Adam. Adam, that we already did an event together in Paris. So thank you, Adam. I'm sure that all the startups will be very happy. It's an amazing opportunity for them to learn a lot of things about this very important topic. So thank you just for the startups to know for the new startups that you have the chat tab if you want to say something, to speak about what do you want. You have also the question tab if you want to ask any question and we will answer after the presentation during the Q&A session. That's all. I think we can go. Adam, if you want, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maxence. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Maxence, for the introduction. Thank you to Scaleway for having me today. Very excited to meet all the founders, the startuppers, the tech enthusiasts that we have today on the call and on the chat. So super excited, guys. So today we're gonna talk about how we can try to amaze investors with your pitch. But before I kick off, let me tell you a bit who am I. So my name is Adam. As you know, I'm actually French guy, but with a kind of multicultural background because my mom is from Poland and my dad from Morocco. So I grew up in this kind of atmosphere. And then my original background is more into international relations. So I was advising politicians on how to be more influential, how to build effective campaigns, strategic campaigns internationally. So I use this expertise and in an analysis for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of France. So I was in the Embassy of France in Poland. I worked for the European Commission. I worked for the Havas Group, also as a consultant there. And then I decided to also use my competencies in the tech field, and I moved into the startup world. And I was proactive in the Central European ecosystem. As I told you, I have this Polish background, and I was really curious to be there in this emerging market, especially in Poland, that is a scene that is really booming. So I joined a VC that is investing in pre-seed to seed startups, but also running an incubation program. So I was there coaching many startups, and now I'm running an acceleration program called Polish Tech Day, where we help exclusively seed startups to expand and to join new markets. So as Maxence said, we met in Paris because we were running the event with Scaleway there. We went in London as well. We have the finals in Warsaw. So follow us. And I'm also writing. So anyways, many things. But right now I'm also helping startups in the fundraising, in the expansion, and basically in their communication, in order to provide something that can be sexy, seductive, and that catch the eye. So let's be together. The bullshit is over. Let's kick it. Let's try to maybe put our phones aside and give Slack a break, and let's try to enjoy those 30 to 40 minutes that we have together. So there is no magic recipe, right? Unfortunately, but still there are ways to maximize your success when you pitch, and we will try to review those. So first of all, what is a pitch, right? It's not rocket science. I know here you're all probably founders. I know from different stages for sure. And you know what is a pitch? It's a way to communicate, to provide a discourse that will arise interest. All right. So this is key because people are extremely busy. People see a lot and listen to a lot of presentations, but your one need to stand out. So this is why a pitch is, right? This is to be remembered. That's very first important information. And a pitch, it's like a coin. You have two faces. So the one face is to talk and use your voice and your body, as we will see. But the other one is also to have a presentation, what we call a pitch deck, as you know, that will be robust, attractive, and that will present the metrics that you want to also stand out from the presentation. So of course, we will talk about it, business model, team, so on and so forth. Last but not least, you need to provide a vision. And that's also crucial, and that need to be reflected in the way you will present. So in this presentation, we'll review the two aspects, both the structure, the visual aspect of a pitch deck, but we will also review some tips and tricks to be more persuasive when pitching. All right, so why is it so important to pitch, to know how to pitch? Because we always pitch, guys, right? That's why you need to feel confident when doing it. So here I gather three main categories of pitching that you're probably aware of. The elevator pitch, first of all, right? So imagine you join an elevator, you join this place closed, and you meet an investor that you've always dreamed to meet and to be face-to-face, and he's going to the 10th floor, you're on the floor 0. Okay, so you have 30 seconds and you need to come up with a story, with a line, because this guy is extremely busy and he has a meeting right after. You need to imagine and pick up something that will make him first maybe add you on LinkedIn and set up a coffee 15 minutes later on this floor he's stopping by, right? So the elevator pitch is something that it's a particular exercise. And it is those 30 seconds that you have to 1 minute, not only in an elevator, but also in a conference, right? So in conferences, you see so many people that are seeing and listening to so many projects, investors that have no time, but maybe they're waiting for their soda in a line, in a queue. And here you have the moment for you to approach them, and you need to, in 30 seconds, be persuasive and be clear about the problem and the solution you want to tackle. We're going to review that, but still you need to have that in mind, because I see sometimes founders, and ask you this question yourself. I ask founders, hey, what are you doing? And they are not able to tell me in simple words. And it's striking too often. So no, we need to work on that. You need to work on that. I had this situation yesterday because right now I'm in a conference, InfoShare in Gdańsk in the north of Poland. Anyways, I asked this founder, what are you doing? Because he says me, did you study physics? So I said no. And he's like, all right, so it's not a good approach to start a conversation, right? And build trust, right? So you need to be aware of that. The second one is the sales product pitch. So either you focus on maybe your sales funnel, maybe you'll focus on your products or the features you have depending on the audience. And this format is a classic one. So you have those around 5 minutes on stage in front of an audience to provide that wow effect. Okay, so here you have the time to play with the audience, to display your skills, to display your knowledge about the market and your product. But also here you hope to move to the next stage, which is not only here to in front of an audience and investors, but also to have the ability to move to the next meeting face to face between 4 eyes with an investor. So this is probably a crucial moment. And this is, of course, the format that you probably experience in startup events, meetups, conferences, so on and so forth. Last but not least, of course, the, let's say, investor pitch that maybe is a bit longer. It depends, right? Varies a lot depending on the fund's requirements. But here, of course, you focus more on the metrics, the traction, your financial modeling, so on and so forth. So you also need to be, maybe it's also another way to speak, maybe more down to earth, because you need here to say and present that you're someone maybe good in operations, and that has, of course, as well, the vision, the runway, and the consciousness of this. We always pitch, right? Even when sleeping, you need to be able to pull off that pitch. Even when sleeping, even in your dreams, you need to be ready. So we've touched it upon when I discussed the different categories. The first thing that you guys need to know and to work on is to understand your audience, correct? So if you want to attract the attention of an investor, probably you will focus on the numbers, because the investor want to maximize his return on investment and decrease his risk. Okay, so probably you will focus on that. So on your traction, on your ability to maybe have an attractive business model that you have designed properly, an effective maybe advisory boards. So not numbers, but still. So if you want to tackle an investor, you need to probably focus on those aspects. If you want to maybe meet new international clients, Probably you will try to display your knowledge about the market, about the competition, and how and what are your maybe special sauce, your advantage that will basically differentiate you in the market, right? Because the client is looking for to optimize from different offers. He's trying to optimize the solution he will use on a wide level. Last but not least, probably you will meet a tech enthusiast. Maybe it will be a mentor, something of this kind. So, or you want to meet this kind of person, or maybe you want to expand your team. Maybe you want to meet new potential partners, advisors, and here probably you will need to focus on the product and its features. So, some prerequisites before meeting an investor. Better safe than sorry, right? So let me remind you those. Here again, I don't know all the stages you guys have. Maybe some already have closed some deals with VCs. Maybe some are not yet there. Who knows? So here I'm listing some elements, right? So of course, first you need to have a strong startup idea, kind of obvious. Good if you have a prototype / patent / proof of concept that will allow you to showcase your traction and see that your product is working, that is robust. Financial forecast as well, if you have an idea of how you want to use the funds that you're asking, of course, kind of important. So think about this. I recommend you to have 2 decks, maybe one that is kind of shorter, right? So this is the format that we have seen, this number 2. So maybe the speech format, as we're going to review it, probably kind of visually attractive. And then another deck, maybe more with data, so what we call the investment deck that you probably know. To have an incorporated entity, if you want to get investment, better nice to have. And of course, the ability to live on savings, probably, because it's important for an investor to invest in someone that will engage and commit in the project. And of course, you need to be the good fit. We will come back to that, of course, as well, but you need to be sure that the investor you are talking to will be interested in your vertical, in your fundraising needs, so on. So you need to come prepared. That's the good fit I was talking about. You need to come prepared, first because you need to respect your counterpart, but also you need to come prepared because you want to leverage your position. If you're prepared, it will be easier for you to first set up your objectives, but also second, leverage your position and understand what you really want from this person, and also test the investors, because at the end of the day, you're able or not to take the money potentially, right? So first of all, research the investor. So research the fund. What are their portfolio, for instance? If you know the portfolio well, maybe you'll be able to identify synergies between your startup, your solution, and the startups they're already invested in and are still supporting, most likely. And this is attractive if you're able to make those bridges with the investors, with the fund. So try to look for that. Try to look, of course, for the stages they invest in, for the tickets they have, for the verticals, the industry they like. That's I think, very important. But also try to research the people that you will have in front of you. All right. So try to look for the investor, the VC associate, analyst, partner that you have in front of you, what he likes, what he's interested in, what conference he went to recently. It will help you in your elevator pitch, in your empathy, in your way to build the trust between each other. So key, because it's the way they will remember you and not someone else in an event that maybe they have this matchmaking and they see 150 guys. Define your fundraising goals. Very important. So, okay, I'm raising a seed round of 500K, like a bridge. I have already 200K secured. So I have a lead investor of 300K. So I need still 200K. This is my cap table. Blah blah blah. Okay. So be clear on that. Then I recommend you maybe to have a handy executive summary, a one-pager, so you can give it here and there. Business plan potentially. And last but not least, of course, come prepared, meaning practice your pitch and the Q&A. So this will come later on in the presentation. Some guidelines about the pitch deck, right? So you may know Guy Kawasaki, who is serial entrepreneur, who is one of the first guys working for Apple in the marketing strategy, who is also part of who has worked with Canva. He has designed this rule for the pitch deck that I agree to disagree. Well, he says that the 10, 20, 30, right? So 10 slides for 20 minutes and 30 is the font you shall use in order to be well seen by people in the back. So of course, 10 slides for 20 minutes seems very, not a lot. And so maybe it's a bit excessive, but what you get here is the idea of less is more. Do not overload your pitch deck with too many slides, especially when presenting. So you need to find the right balance. Not too few, because then we are stuck on one slide and it's maybe a bit boring and not dynamic enough. But then if you have a slide, if you present for 3 minutes with 50 slides, well, guys, it means that you change the slides every 2 seconds. It gives, of course, not the impression of dynamism, but rather the impression of rushing, of running after time and not being in control. So you need to find that right balance. Probably for a 5 minutes pitch, you have those 20 slides ready. Okay. Then another one, I just put Steve Jobs to illustrate it, so it looks better, right? So 1/7/140, 1 idea per slide. Okay, let's keep it simple. 7 words per slide. It's a range. Again, it's just for you to think about how I really want to optimize it. Not too much text, because if I put a lot of text, I'm trying to read, right? As a listener, as an investor, trying to read, then I try to get to understand you and your speech. Too many information, and I get lost. No, we want to hear you. We want to get to know you. We want to see how you identify with a brand and how you are, projecting yourself in it and how you are able to defend it. So no, you need to be the master of the presentation. The slides behind you are here to support, illustrate, but do not overload us with signals, messages, information. 140 characters or less. Visually attractive, Salvador Dali. So eccentric guy, but anyways, it needs to be visually attractive. It's easy to make it easy. So as I said, kind of linked to I just presently introduced. Avoid excessive text. All right, clear. Avoid too many bullet points all over the place. Think about how you can highlight your text. Use the contrast. Okay, very important. Of course, I don't mention here the colors, but of course, try to be visually coherent in your presentation. Not too many items per slide. Again, and of course, now it's easy to make it easy. You have so many free tools for you to use. You probably know them by heart. So Pitch, Canva, Prezi, so on and so forth. The structure we have seen, and we have we have an idea that we have to be kind of pure, and the structure here, are we that rigid? Allow me to say yes. There is this kind of structure that you kind of need to respect, because it makes it easier for the guys that are analyzing the pitch decks to understand clearly. So maybe one day the system will change more, but for now I recommend you to still kind of deal with it. Of course, there are ways of you can play slightly with it. Some people put the team maybe more in the beginning than at the end. But here you have on the visual, I hope maybe you kind of see it, but some main VCs have kind of listed what they really need to see on the pitch deck, and what you have here on the list is problem, of course, solution, your problem that you're tackling, the solution you want to provide, so how you solve the problem, your business model, your competition, your team, extremely important. The more early we are, the more important is the team, and your fundraising goals. Then you have some extras as well that you may be aware of. So depending on the time you have, so is it 3 minutes or 6? Okay, this is a different story. So you can of course add your market validation, very, very nice. The market size, so show the investors that he's going to be part of that there is potential, that it's rising, right? So show us that. Your go-to-market strategy, your traction, and the use of funds. So how would you like to use the money you're trying to get? So let's try to review some slides that I've picked from the ones in green, so the most important ones. I think it will be enough, not to over smash you with too many slides, but still you will probably understand the essence of what I'm trying to convey here. So the problem slide, very important. All right, I need to understand here, guys, that there is a pain. All right, there is a pain and it's big. How to do it? Probably you will show me a number. So let's say by 2055, we will need 500% of minerals in order to meet the demand. Okay, so in that case, I would put 500% by 2050, and you say it, but big, impressive numbers. Here on the slide, you have dogmatic. So I use slides of seed startups that are in the acceleration program that we are running. So dogmatic, pretty clear, right? The problem, 50% is the time legal professionals spend reading contract. Wow, 50% is a big number. You show the money, right? And it's like, it's show me the money as well. So here, problem is big. I can relate to it easily. It's easy to understand, and it's shocking. Okay, so these professionals that pay a lot of money, that have probably high intellectual expertise, but they're here to read those contracts. So we get it. Then of course she shows the money as well. So there's a money loss in this process. So it's nice. So I like the way she kind of dogmatic presents two big numbers and introduce them in one line. It could be even maybe easier. Maybe the text is not necessary. Who knows? But I think you get the idea. So provide us with a big number, impressive percentage, So for example, two-third of the globe will blah blah blah. Okay, so I think this is an important one. So we understand that we are tackling a big problem, and by essence, a big market potentially. The solution should be, you should be able in one sentence to explain what you do. So here again, it's not a slide to overcrowd with information. Here, Ball Squad provide us with 3 items: technology, sports, community. This is a Ball Squad, right? So they do it's an ecosystem, smart city, blah, blah, blah. But he is able to, in one sentence, explain me that he is doing something that will use sport facilities for public good. Okay, so kind of simple, straightforward. So the solution slide also relating to the problem slide, of course. Big problem, simple, probably solution. The business model. I think this one is pretty straightforward. Try to be as well kind of simple. So probably you have 3 boxes to, like, maybe you have a freemium model, subscription based, whatever. Also depending on maybe your clients, is it maybe B2B, B2C, depending of course on your solution, guys. But here again, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Do not overcrowd with information. You can put your pricing as well. It's nice. On the right, the guys have a business model that is a bit more complex, B2B2C, and they try to explain with the fees they take. They provide an example on the right. So why not? Depends also on how confident you are then to explain it in a simple manner. But I think it's not too bad. The competition slide. So here, first and foremost, I recommend you to use the 2 axes in that way, because I see people mixing it. So from my experience, people will like you to have the firms, the competition on the horizontal axis, and the features on the left axis, right? So here is a slide from Gridally. That is nice, very purple, because their brand is this way. So pretty good job on that. They put the logos of the competition, which is nice. They really use They put themselves, of course, on the left, so be on that left. So because we read from left to right, at least in the Western world. So I hit them immediately. Their column is highlighted, as you can see, so it stands out. So it's really, I think it's a nice slide. Maybe I would think about the features, their competitive advantage, right? On the bottom, so marketing automation, personalization, and engagement tools. Maybe I'll try to underline them slightly more, so I also see what makes me different. Even though, okay, marketing automation, I didn't see get response does it as well, but you got the idea. I think it's a pretty good example slide. The founding team. So here, guys, professional pictures, good quality pictures. I think I like this slide. So from Digimons, good pictures. I like the way, in a simple manner, they provide me the fact that they are experts. They have +10 +X years of experience in this. I like the way they present the logos of the firms they worked for. This is a gaming solution, so I like the cyberpunk. Okay, they know Snapchat, this kind of media, also entertainment, let's say, industry. And so this is a cool slide. Overall, on this moment, guy, you need to pull it off. You need to be super proud of this team, proud of your team. It has to be the dream team. It has to be the best team in the world. It has to be the team that is able to push mountains to tackle a big problem, as we have seen, right? So highlight your team members, highlight the experience. I think here is very important to know who is behind there. So do not underestimate this slide. And I think we will be over with the fundraising / call for action. So fundraising, right, guys, you pitch, it's for something. As we said, you need to understand your audience. You need to understand your goals and your objectives. So why are you here? Why are you here? Most likely because you're raising money. If you're talking to investors at least. So on the left, verb, they do it maybe kind of complex, but still pretty nice in the way that, okay, this is what we want. We're raising 2 million. Late seed. There is a goal. Why for? To scale globally. Okay. And then on the bottom, they provide me with a chart, with a timeline. So I see that they're prepared. I understand a bit more about the use of funds. I understand that the guys have a vision. They have a projection. They have probably thought about how they will expand and use this money. So in which markets, which countries. Okay. So it gives me an idea, and I see, okay, these guys, maybe they have the shoulders to manage it. So this is not a pretty good slide. You may see also those slides, those circle slides where you have, okay, I'm raising 2 million and I want, let's say 20%. I will spend 20% in marketing, 30 in sales, 10 in legal. Okay, so this is something also that could be used in that moment. Call for action as well, because it will come. You need, as I said, you're here for a reason. So not only you want money or develop some new relations in the ecosystem, but also invite me to talk to you more, right? So I'm here for you. Let's have a chat. Let's add each other. Let's have a coffee, whatever. But invite people to do so. So if you do not do it, it's not maybe them that will think about knocking at your door. So you need to pick those people up. So here, verb is trying with a QR code. You have Bold Squad that buy me a drink first, whatever. So depend also on your personality. A pitch is also something you need to feel comfortable with. So you need to think about that, but it's maybe space for you to be creative. So we have seen the structure. Now let me maybe provide you with some ideas about, maybe you know them probably, but at least to remind you how to catch the attention. So we have different personalities. Not all of us are maybe extroverts or feel comfortable on stage. It's all right. I think we'll also repeat some elements that are small things that will help you to be more confident on stage and when taking the mic in front of many people. But still, so do not maybe. What I want to say here is do not overplay. Okay, do not overplay. You need to feel comfortable. So I'll provide you here some ideas. Think about it. and it's food for thought. So I think, first of all, what I see in pitching competitions, conferences, that the power of storytelling is really nice, and it makes people win those things and those awards. So think about it: how you will tell the story, how you will start the pitch, how will you stand out from the guy that was just pitching before you, and how, in a competition where you have 15 guys, how you may try to turn the investor in front of you not on his smartphone because he's already bored and he's already thinking about his family, but no, he will take out his phone and he will look at you and stay with you for the 5 minutes you have to provide with him. So, storytelling. First of all, maybe you can start with a personal story. Once I was a professional soccer player, and I was a very good player, but then I got this injury and I had to stop playing, but I still love the sport, so I started to play with my friends, but we were struggling to find a soccer pitch in our city. When you play in a club, it's super easy. You play 3 times a week and the club provides you with a soccer field. But now we couldn't book a field. Here comes our solution. Okay, so this is a personal story. I start with an emotion, something I've experienced, to catch maybe your attention and to make you identify to it potentially as well, and to stay with me. So personal story can be a thing. Try to think it, right? And it also shows that you are part of the solution, meaning that you know the field you're operating it in, because it comes from your heart, because it comes from your personal experience. A second idea is maybe to identify with the public. So here, it's not the I, it's the you. Okay, so you probably have experienced something. Okay, so if I tell you, you probably have been in the bar and you have probably experienced the long queues to wait for your drink, right? Here comes our robot that will provide you with beer in a second and will avoid you with any queue in your restaurant. Okay, so the you can be used as well. It's kind of powerful, right? Because you project a story to the audience, so you can think about this. You can question the audience. Who here has already used a dating app? Okay, so here you need to think. What kind of question, right? You understand me? If I ask you this question, probably I'm lucky enough to find people in the audience that have used Tinder in their life. So, but do not ask too niche question because it will be awkward, right? So to question the audience, think about it, because you can do it 2 ways. You can just ask a rhetoric question. So who here has already used Tinder in his life? I have. And you start the pitch, right? So it's kind of rhetoric question. You don't wait for the answer to come. It's just a way to start the pitch. You can also create some movement in the crowd. So you can ask something and try to make a reaction of the crowd. Why not? But again, you need to be very confident and test it before that it works. All right. So here are the some ways of attracting the audience. You have others, and here, and again, be creative. Think, sit with your team, with your partners, and think about your product. What are you offering, and what would be powerful? There are plenty of ways to do it, because you're special. So maybe if you have hardware, you can show your hardware. Okay, so it allows me to understand the size of it. It allows me to understand, maybe the tech there is behind or not. So it works well in hardware, in food tech. So maybe think about it. Maybe you can use a QR code. We've seen it a bit before. That's maybe a way to interact with the audience. But again, you need to be careful. When will you use the QR code? I see some people that use the QR code in the middle of the pitch to do a demo, to showcase the product, to showcase the app. It could be, but be careful. Maybe you will lose the attention. You will lose the attention of your audience, right? Because maybe they will play with it, and then you want to go further, you want to go on, and the people are not with you anymore. So maybe the QR code is better at the end of the presentation, where you make sure that people understand what you want to try, what you're trying to say and explain. But why not? What else? I mean, there are plenty of ways. You can play with, I don't know, showing your phone. You can You be creative, again, depending on what you want to say. Use simple words. So here already I say, of course, it depends, right? Depends because you need to understand your audience, as we said. If you talk to generalists, like investors that invest in many verticals, many industries, probably you want to use simpler words. But then if you talk to an investor in gaming and you want to talk about gaming jargon, feel free to do so. If not, probably you want to use simpler words. So Digimans from gaming. So probably they will try to avoid to pitch about NPCs, so non-personal characters in the games, because people do not know that sector that well. So if you start to tell me about NPCs, blah blah blah, you lose my attention and I will take out my phone. So think about it, and then be ready to rock. Right? You need to be ready to do that checklist. Again, does my solution solve a problem? Is it big market? Do I have a competitive advantage or a substantive long-term advantage that I'm able to create on the market? Can I make money or profit? Different things, right? So you need to be ready to answer those questions, because investors want to see, as we said before, they're making always this calculus between return and risk. So the market risk, so it relates to the previous slide. So how big is the market? It will decrease the risk of investment. How the competition is and how impressive are the features. How able I'm able to differentiate myself will also probably decrease the risk of investment. And last but not least, the execution risk, which is my team able to pull it off? Okay, so if I'm an investor and I see a strong team, complementary team, maybe international team, who knows? Well, I may be more aware and able to say, hey, they were able to execute. Time is running, I see. So I will try to still provide you with some elements. So bear with me. Body language. We've seen the visual aspect. We've seen the structure, and now let's come up also to how to present, how to occupy the room. So how to stand first, of course, right? So you need to stand. Maybe you can walk. Maybe depending on your storytelling, but you need to think about, okay, I'm here. Will I move a bit or not? This is related to your shoulders. So how do I stand? If I stand like this and I cut myself from the audience, probably it's not a good thing, right? So look at your shoulders, depending on the type of conference you have and the type of place. Your hands are very powerful. They can help you to insist on some words. So think about it. Identify the key words, the key elements, the key ideas of your presentation, and accompany that idea with your hands. It can be powerful. So think about how you want to use them. Is it going to be like that? And I'm going to be maybe more of a professor. I'm going to be more of a fighter. Depends. The eye contact, very important. Again, if you want to master the crowd, you need to look at it. It relates to the shoulders. If I look only this way, the other way is excluded. Like obvious, but important. If you want to keep the attention of this investor with you, if you want to avoid of him taking his phone out, look at him from time to time. But make sure he's here and you see and he understands that you talk to him, or at least that you want to make him engaged. So the eye contact is very important. The voice, of course, as well. I told you, in your pitch, in your script, try to understand what are the keywords, the 3 keywords per slide, the opening sentence and the last sentence of your slide. Know it well and insist, on the key when talking about the voice. Insist on the key elements here. Project your voice on those. Articulate, very important. So maybe you can practice, but it's very important not to talk. No, articulate, take the time to say what you want to say. Speed up, slow down. I can try to talk fast and then slow down, right? You see how I can play with this? It's very powerful as well. So try to think if there are words that you can slow down on, you will insist on them. And of course, this accompanies with body movement. This reflects, it's a mirror. So think about it. And last but not least, do not fear the silence. The silence is very powerful too. So avoid parasite noises. No need. It's totally fine. Silence is perfect. So do not rush your transitions. It's all right. If I need to switch my slide, I do not need to. No, it's fine. The silence is powerful. So use it properly. It will help you as well to insist on the key ideas of your pitch. When online, of course, new challenges, but also same story. So, well, you know it perfectly, but maybe as a kind reminder, internet connection, the light, try to be not too bad, the background. So, I mean, hotel, maybe not perfect, but still decent. Microphone, I hope you guys can hear me well. And the positioning, so I hope it's also not too bad, but you're able to see my front body, my hands, my face properly. Not to speak like that, because it's less powerful, right? I cannot use my body that much. So the body is also important online. So probably you want to take a step back and be more powerful here. The Q&A with the judges. And we are coming closer to the end, I promise. I hope it's not too boring. The Q&A, guys. It's another exercise. We will maybe have time for it, but the Q&A is also important when pitching, because too much founders are focusing on those 5 minutes they have on stage to pitch, and then they lose the momentum during the Q&A because they think it's over. No, you still have everything to win in the Q&A. So you cannot slow down. You cannot, put your energy down. It's not possible. You need to stay the same. The Q&A is crucial. So do not lose your momentum, first of all. Second of all, use your slides. I see also too many times founders during a Q&A session that rush, close their slides, forget about them. Why? You have an amazing pitch deck that you're probably proud of because you worked on it. It's visually attractive. It needs to be. Use it. If I have a question about, hey, by the way, you've touched upon this player that is on the market. Yeah, no problem. Let me show you. Okay? Master the presentation. Use it properly. So, and these are the features that will make us better. So use your slides. Answer the questions on point. Sometimes I see founders that do not answer the question. Well, so be careful. Like when I mean they do not, I mean they maybe have misunderstood the question or they do not answer on point. So it's okay to, if you feel like answer the question, do it. But if you cannot, maybe you can try to rephrase the question and make sure that you understood it well. It will allow you to gain time, think about your answer. And I think it's always good. Or do not answer to the question. It's okay to not know the answer on a given day, a given moment, but call for action. Call for action. It's a very good question. Right now, I don't have the data with me to provide you with, but I'm super happy to send it over to you in a few days when I have more information about this topic. Very professional, very nice, perfect. All right. Then respect the audience. I see sometimes as well people that interrupt the Q&A, like the question, because they know the product that well, they are overconfident. No, let the people ask the question, and maybe you can flatter them. Hey, that's a very nice question. Thank you. Good point. And answer the question. So respect the audience. Very important. This relates to be smart overall. This is this human intelligence, I believe. And once again, come prepared. As I told you, do your research, know your judges. Maybe you can thank you, Mr. or thank you, Christian, for this question, right? If you know the name, it's easier to build the trust. So you're not born a great speaker, as I told you, but you can become one. You can master the force. So practice. Practice is key. Practice in front of a mirror, or you can use your body, your eyes, everything. Record yourself, probably the most important thing. So you can review with your team, with your friends, what went well, what less, how you're doing with time management, these kind of things. And your relatives, maybe your partner know the solution by heart, so he's biased, but maybe someone that is not familiar with the tech and that is able to understand you will be a good sign. So thank you so much. May the force be with you. So let's stay in touch. The Q&A is now, so probably you have questions, but already I wanted to thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it a lot. And here's my contact.
Thank you. The amazing presentation, Adam. Thank you so much. And now we can ask some questions. We have 2 questions for Zila, which is with me.
Yeah.
She's just up. If you
You mentioned, in certain areas when you do tend to lose the audiences, do see that you're losing someone's attention. What would be best tips to get their attention back?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, guys. Just have one question myself. Can you hear me well, Maxence? Can you just tell me, because I have some. I feel like maybe there is a slight delay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Leila. It's a good question. How to regain the attention of the crowd? I think you need to display the elements I've seen. So I like, how I can do it. Maybe in the place, I'll try to a movement. Maybe I'll try to get closer to the crowd. Probably I'll try to project my voice more. Maybe I'll try to use also my body, right? So hello, hi guys. So here is the thing, guys. Stay with me. This is okay. So I think this is the kind of processes that you can use to get it back. Also, again, the silence. I really like the silence. And we're here back again. All right. But so I think this is it. I think invite the guys, like, hey guys, let's stick together. I have something amazing to tell you. So I think you, first of all, you have to stay under control. No stress. Okay. It's okay to have a down moment. You still need to be under control, and then think about those elements, right? So the body language, so the hands, the voice, the silence, and maybe some movement. I think that would be my key propositions. But why not to ask a question? Are you still with me, guys? And we can go on. I see that Michael has also a question, right, Maxence?
Yes.
On the chat.
Just one question before. Do you hear me correctly?
Now it's better.
No? Okay, cool. I with my AirPods. Okay. I don't know if you want, maybe I will invite you on stage if you want to ask his question. If you want to go as you want. I receive the invitation. Up. It's okay.
So
okay.
What would be the 3 questions I have to ask myself to prepare my elevator pitch? Michael. Hello,
yes,
good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was very, very interesting, and I really liked the micro tips you gave. Yeah, my question was, if I want to prepare my elevator pitch, what would be the 3 questions I have to ask myself?
Yeah. There are plenty. I think the first one, I think I'm going to be simple in this answer, but I think is first, what is the problem I'm solving? Really, I think you need to be very clear on that. Then, what is my solution? Okay, for it. Maybe if it's even broad, but what is my idea to solve that problem? And the third one is it's a good one. I think because elevator pitch, I think if you have those ones already good, you're good to go. So third one is maybe you can ask yourself why you, why you, why is it you that are going to be able to solve that problem and come up with this, why you came up with this solution, why you. I think that would be the one. So because then it makes it easier, right? So let's say you probably have struggled in order to find your professional aspirations, right? So I'm working on a platform that will help you in career guidance for millions of teenagers. Okay, so you understand the problem. Okay, you elevator pitch, easy, identify a universal thing. We all have been through that. The solution is something. It's mobile. I mean, then you have to. It's something I come up like this, but you come up with a mobile app, whatever. I'm designing a mobile app for this person. Boom. And I believe in that because, right? I don't know, something like that. I think that would be my three kind of axis of approach. Yeah, I hope it's a good one.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Mika.
Thank you, Mika.
Madame also. I only have one last question. It's about Victor. It's in the chat tab.
Okay.
Are revenue and financial projections not relevant for the pitch deck?
Can you repeat the question, Maxence?
But you can see if you want, is in the chat tab about Victor Andreas.
Chat tab, yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. I was on questions. My bad. So are revenue and financial projections not relevant for the pitch deck? They are. And I think if you have revenue, it's really good. So do it. Please put it. Revenue, MRR, as I said, traction overall as well. So you have, I don't know, maybe you have 10 POCs around the globe. Wow, fantastic. I think it's very powerful. Then financial projections, why not? Probably, you would not spend a lot of time. You can give me a taste of it. Okay, so I understand this guy have a direction. But again, it depends. It depends once again on the time you have. But revenue / traction is something I like a lot. So please do it. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you guys for the comments in the chat.
Thank you a lot. Thank you. I don't think we have any question remaining. I don't think so. But
Yeah.
it's time, but it was very clear. Just one word. I don't know if you want Adam to add something for conclusion or.
Yeah, I mean, thank you once again. Thank you guys for the questions. I hope it was useful and hopefully inspiring. I wish you all the best. I wish you all a lot of luck, a lot of practice. It's not easy, but it's with practice, is with training that you're going to master it. Try to think about those small things, even if you are an introvert, even if you're not able to shout loud, but just try to think about how I'm going to use my hands. I try to delete the parasites I'm putting in between my sentences. It will give you already some air, and it will, I think, be smoother, basically. So I hope it will be useful. Then please let's connect. You have here my contacts. LinkedIn, I think, will be the easiest one. If I can maybe guide you in some elements, happy to collaborate. So let's stay in touch. If you're interested in also Central Eastern European markets in your future endeavors, expansion, happy to be as well in touch and help. So yeah, here Maxence, we have guys from France, from where?
From all around the world.
All
I mean Europe. But we have just for the startups to know that we will send you an automatically replay of the webinars. So after, if they want to ask some questions, so now you have the LinkedIn or the email of Adam. And yes, but thank you. It was very great. I think we will end this webinar. And just for the startup, last thing that we will send you for the other masterclass, the next will be on the 22 June. It will be how to have the best networking during an event for startups. So another topics.
And last thing, Maxence, please, guys, if you're still here, Please share your feedback and honest feedback. Yes. Only honest feedback make you improve. To Maxence, I would love to read that. And of course, we're here to improve in the future. We always need to improve our pitches. So yeah, thank you again for the session.
Thank you, and have a very great day.
Take care.
Thank you, Brian. Bye.